will you have this woman to be your wife, to live together in the covenant of marriage? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful to her as long as you both shall live? Will all of you, witnessing these promises, do all in your power to hold these two persons in their marriage?
We will.
At this point, it's usually customary to have an interval, but since this is the weather, we're going to have a very short interval. That is customary before we proceed to the exchange of the marriage vows. I will offer a very, very brief reflection. A wedding of young people often marks a significant moment in the story of many families. The moment when officially the role of chief caregiver passes from one's parents to one's spouse. It can be then a moment both for looking back and for anticipating the future. Can the history of former marriages in a family provide some guidance for the future of a young couple anticipating life after their wedding? While so many weddings continue an almost universal human tradition, most also continue some individual family traditions. In my family, seemingly by chance, and with some exceptions, there's a pattern which has begun to feel like a tradition. Marriages seem to follow for young persons who first meet while they're students at some college or university. Alex and Cailin met while students at McAllister College in the class of 2013. Many years ago, a generation earlier, Alex's mother and father also met when they too were students at McAllister. And a generation before that, I first met the woman who had become Alex's grandmother in a Latin class at the University of Cincinnati in September 66 years ago. I do not know when this tradition in our family of meeting one's future marriage partner on a college or university campus began. It did not start with my mother and father. Perhaps it began with my maternal grandmother, who died just a few months after I was born, and her husband, my grandfather, who died prematurely 16 years before that. The story of their meeting, however, is preserved in a memoir written by my aunt covering her childhood, which extended from 1888 to 1913. Here's what she wrote. It all started one September day in Iowa City. The year was 1884. At the station that afternoon, waiting to see what new students that train would bring, was a group of juniors. Among them was James Hiram Dickey. As a junior, he was obviously more sophisticated than the two young girls and young man who alighted from the train that day. One of the girls was Grace Darling Thompson from Bedford, Iowa, a little town in the southwestern corner of the state, whose travels of any distance had been limited so far to one trip to Chicago with her father. To jump ahead now in my aunt's account, after their courtship as fellow students at the University of Iowa, they were married on October 12, 1887, just a week ahead. The wedding was a simple family affair. The two families might have filled the front parlor. The groom's parents and two younger brothers came south from Cherokee, Iowa, and many of Grace's 10 siblings might have been there, and possibly some cousins from Ottumwa, Iowa. After the ceremony, the young couple departed on a wedding trip to Minneapolis and Minnehaha Falls before returning to their new home in Storm Lake, Iowa. Alex and Cailin, today you're adding yet another chapter, a Minnesota chapter, to this tradition. But of course, meeting on a college campus, or any other place for that matter, provides no guarantee that one is meeting the right person. That might be said to be a matter of great good luck. If so, I might add that these marriages in our tradition suggest that our good luck has held for 134 years, and I hope it is continuing. We wish you the very best in adding your story to theirs in the years ahead. My concluding wish for the two of you this afternoon is one that is probably as old, possibly as marriage itself. It's a romantic novel written originally in Greek or perhaps in Aramaic well over 2,000 years ago. A young man named Tobias, at his wedding to the girl Sarah, offers this prayer: grant that she and I may find mercy and grow old together. It is my concluding prayer for you both, as it is for us all. And now, if you'll stand up. And now, you take her right hand in yours and repeat after me. In the name of all that I hold dear,
In the name of all I hold dear,
I, Alex, take you, Cailin, to be my wife,
I, Alex, keep Cailin,
to have and to hold,
and hold,
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish until we are parted by death.
to love and to cherish until we are parted by death.
This is my solemn vow. Drop her hand, and you take his hand in your right hand. There you go. Repeat after me. In the name of all that I hold dear,
In the name of all that I hold dear,
I, Cailin, take you, Alex,
I, Cailin, take you, Alex,
to be my husband,
to be my husband,
to have and to hold,
to have and to hold,
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish,
to love and to cherish,
until we are parted by death.
until we are parted by death.
This is my solemn vow.
This is my solemn vow.
And now, if Peter and Hannah, you could make that ring, all right? This is the one that you're going to put on her.
Oh, I think so, yeah. That's one right.
All right, all right. May these rings be a sign of the vows by which Alex and Cailin have bound themselves to each other. All right. Now, this is the one. All right. And again, repeat after me. Cailin, I give you this ring
Cailin will give me this ring
as a symbol of my vow,
as a symbol of my vow.
and with all that I am
All that I am,
and all that I have,
all that
I honor you.
we're getting there.
Yeah. Permanent. It's permanent. Now repeat after me. Alex, I give you this ring
Alex, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my vow,
as a symbol of my vow,
and with all that I am
and with all that I am
and all that I have,
and all that I have,
I honor you.
I honor you.
Now that Alex and Cailin have given themselves to each other by solemn vows, with the joining of hands and the giving and receiving of rings, I pronounce that they are now partners, husband and wife. Those who have so given themselves to each other, let no one put asunder.